Box to box overlap, and France have just beaten Namibia. And before I get into this game, I have a small story to tell you guys. So, on the 10th of July of 2022, um, the Kenyan 15 side, the Shujaa, went and played a game in a place in France called Aix-en-Provence in France. And in that game, we were losing 15-0 at halftime. And I was like, I was at that point I was gutted because it felt like we were dominating. Well, not really dominating. We were showing that we were physical. We had a chance to beat a powerhouse, in African rugby, that has been dominating for years. And I believe that it was our best chance yet because we are not beaten them like the last 5 times. The last time we beat them was like in like years, like 7 or 8 years before that. So fast forward to the end of that game, we lost 36-0. Um, the captain Johan Deisel of Namibia also scored in that game, who got a red card today. And I'm telling you guys this story because we lost 36-0 to Namibia. And today, France have scored 96 points against Namibia to nil. And I was just wondering, like, had we beaten Namibia, what would have been the score between France and Kenya? And at that point, I wasn't really feeling bad for Namibia. I felt bad for ourselves because I was like, we have levels to get to be making the World Cup finals. I said World Cup finals, like the World Cup finals as a whole, not the World Cup final. Um, that is still a few decades to go, but there's such a gulf in class in rugby that doesn't make sense, right? Like Namibia currently ranked, I think, 17th in the world, if I'm not wrong, or 18th, something like that. But a team that's ranked 14 places above them, or 15 places, whatever it is, in France, can put up 96 points against you. Yeah. Whereas when you move to like football, you have teams that are ranked even 70 places below another team that have a chance on any given day. In rugby, that's not the case, And today, France showed that, as Africans, we have a long way to go. Like, we have a long way to go. Yeah, the game was Namibia. I feel like Namibia they've had better starts to games like during the tournament. This particular game was not one of the better starts. Um, 96 to nil, guys. 96 nil. Like, man. Actually, I just feel sad for Namibia. Like, it doesn't show how hard they worked in that game. At no point can I say that they just let France go, because they didn't. They actually had chances. They really tried to um, play whenever they could. Their set piece was just not strong enough. Every single scrum that they had was a pending penalty for France, if not a penalty. Um, they were outrun. They were doubled meters carried. France had 851, Namibia with 408. Carries over the gain line 71 to 45. And France had 32 defenders beaten over 13 for Namibia. So it felt like a very one-sided game, but not one-sided, if that makes sense. Because Namibia actually showed effort and they tried. It's not that they didn't try. But yeah, France was just on a different level. Antoine Dupont was just like it was just the orchestrator, like just orchestrating everything from the 9 position. His cross kicks were good, like 2 try assists from cross kicks. Scored a try himself. Peno scored a hat trick. Also, just someone who gave them so much stress. Biari also scored 2 tries. Oliver and Flamand brought in the strength and muscle, like in the forwards. So they just overpowered Namibia, and it was sad to see the captain get sent off. Johan Deisel got a red card. It was a yellow card that was upgraded to a red card. I said this before in the first round of the Rugby World Cup, and I'll say it again. This system, the bunker system of whenever there's foul play, they just say, okay, minimum is a yellow card, so let this guy go. to the sin bin. Um, then we try and and then the television official can go over it and see if it warrants a red card, and they have 8 minutes to decide on that, right? So that part of the game has made it faster. I still remember the times when we had challenges in rugby and those things slowed rugby. They slowed every single thing. As long as you got a challenge right, you kept it, right? This one, it works well in the NBA and the NFL, but in rugby, it really slowed the game down. And just seeing innovation, us using technology to make the game faster, is makes more sense, right? The only thing is now you are getting coaches or the referees who might send everything to TMO, right? Instead of depending, like actually falling back on their position and stuff. It hasn't happened much. It has happened like once or twice with today's referee, who was Matthew Kali. I think Matthew Kali, I think he's Irish. Like once or twice, he wasn't too sure, and um, he didn't make a decision and went to the TMO. I mean, if he can't see it, then that makes sense, right? So all in all, so far for me, 18 games in, I think we're 18 games in. I feel like the officiating has been like really good. There's no game that I've seen and been like, okay, officiating needs like work, right? Definitely when the knockouts come and decisions mean much more, then they'll be under more scrutiny. But as of right now, decisions have been like really dope. But I digress. Back to our African boys. I think if there's anything to learn from this game is that us guys as Kenyans, as we work on our rugby, as we try to develop our rugby, our goal should never be just to get to the World Cup. It should be get to the World Cup and actually compete. So those are the those are the steps that I mean, there's steps that you have to go through, but those are the levels we need to be targeting. We need to be targeting a World Cup appearance, but a competitive World Cup appearance. Namibia's first game, though, very competitive.